Hi, my name is Yobi Benjamin, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about the coronavirus or COVID-19. I'm going to talk about how truly infectious this virus is. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a medical professional. I don't purport to be one. However, I have paid special attention to this virus and how it would affect all of us. This virus is one of the most infectious viruses that the world has ever seen. This virus is not the common flu. No matter what politicians tell you, it is simply not true. This virus has a fatality rate of 2%. The common flu has a fatality rate of 0.02%. That means this virus is 100 times deadlier than the flu virus. This virus also has some other attributes that make it incredibly dangerous. The first thing that really struck me is that this virus can live outside of its host. On a metal surface, this virus can survive anywhere from 5 minutes to maybe 24 hours. However, on surfaces such as plastic, the virus can live up to 9 days. Think about that for a moment. 9 days on a plastic surface. This really means that you have to be very, very careful on how you wash your hands and not use your hands to touch your face, your mouth, your eyes, or your nose. Because you never know where the virus lives. This is, in fact, a very invisible enemy. You have no indication whatsoever if the virus has been there or not. The other thing that struck me as a layperson is this virus is also found in feces. In other words, bathrooms can actually harbor this virus. Toilet seats are made out of plastic, and your anus is actually an entry point for the virus. You have to be very careful when you use public facilities. Try to make sure that the facilities you're using are clean, and if possible, try to wipe down your toilet seats with a disinfectant. I also want to talk about what goes into the price of a test kit. And what is a test kit? A test kit is basically a collection and transport device. That is actually the special designation that the Food and Drug Administration uses to describe what is used to collect samples of the virus. We use a very special collection device. The device we use may look like an ordinary vial to you. So it goes like this. You take the swab that comes with a kit. Some kits might use a nose swab, and some kits might use a throat swab. Generally, a nose swab is better. However, you can also use a throat swab. The purpose of the swab is to collect specimens from tissue that are in your pharyngeal area or right above here by your nose or the back of your throat by your tonsils. Once you collect the virus, you put it in the vial, and in the vial there's a special liquid that kills the virus. After it kills the virus, you then preserve the RNA of the virus, which is required to analyze it. The liquid is also not just liquid, it actually preserves the RNA for up to 30 days under ambient temperature or under room temperature. It can also preserve the virus indefinitely if you store it in a very cold place. But generally, you want this sample to be tested before 30 days anyway. So it almost doesn't matter whether you want to keep the sample, even if you want to keep the sample for a year. You're simply just not going to do that. You want it tested. After you gather the specimens from either your nose or your throat, you now have to send this to a testing lab. We have a testing lab. However, there is no lab in the universe that can handle the anticipated volume that will come from testing this virus. We certainly do not have the capacity. That's why we designed our collection system to work with any pathology lab or any hospital lab or any commercial lab. Any lab that has the capacity to analyze with a PCR machine can analyze this virus. We've already talked about the fact that it can live outside the host or outside of the human body. And it can live outside the human body for a very long time. Many of you have seen what the Koreans have done in South Korea, where they're spraying all the sidewalks, all the subways, everything around them is being sprayed with disinfectant. The reason is that this virus can present a danger for a very long time outside of the human body. As I mentioned before, it might last anywhere from 5 minutes to 9 days. The hard part too is that we're not really sure that it only lasts up to 9 days. There has not been enough clinical studies to determine the amount of time that the virus can live outside of the human body. We do know that soap and water destroys the virus. We do know that alcohol, 60% rubbing alcohol, will kill the virus. We do know that hand sanitizer will kill the virus. And we do know that certain household disinfectants will kill the virus. The other challenge we're going to face is how do we get these samples or specimens back to the lab? Well, your lab kit will likely have the vial, which is placed in a biohazard bag, which is bagged again in a larger bag that is suitable for mailing. It will have the return address, your address, and it will also have a barcode that identifies you and your sample so that we can track it. The problem we're going to face is that we are exposing our courier drivers, our friends at FedEx, our friends at UPS, DHL, and Amazon to this very deadly virus. The practical way of looking at this is that literally every package is a biohazard package. The reason is we don't know exactly what happened to that package. A typical scenario that can happen is after a person very carefully puts the vial in the biohazard bag and then bags it again in the mailing bag, is they somehow sneeze or they cough. And the droplets from coughing or sneezing end up in the bag. Well, that bag is now infectious. So we have to do special procedures to make sure that our courier drivers, our friends in FedEx, DHL, UPS, the US Postal Service, and Amazon are all safe. So the proper way to do this is to have special drop-off locations wherein you can just drop off your sample and then it will be collected by specially trained drivers, put in special trucks for shipping back to the lab that you want to send it to. You may want to send it to my lab, or you may want to send it to any other lab, or maybe you want to send it to your hospital lab. As long as the lab is certified by CLIA and CAP, and they have a PCR machine, they should be able to handle this. Local governments are going to play a major role in trying to stop the spread of this disease. And one of the things that local government has to do is to facilitate the placement of special drop-off boxes throughout your city or your town so that our friends and our courier friends can go pick it up safely and deliver it to the lab that you want it to be delivered to. The cost of testing actually comes in two parts. The first part is the cost of the collection and transport device, meaning the cost of the vial and the special solution that will render the virus inactive and preserve its RNA for analysis. And the second part is the cost of the lab testing itself. The cost of that lab testing is still unknown right now. I'm trying to figure it out. And believe me, I have the resources to figure it out. However, it has proven to be very difficult to figure out what a final price will be. But I can guarantee you one thing. I'm going to try my best to set and find the benchmark price. We don't want people gouging us at this moment in history. This is the time where we all have to come together. But remember, these labs that we work with are also businesses. They have to make money in order to provide the service that will keep us all safe. Thank you very much for listening. Again, this is Yobi Benjamin, and I hope to see all of you soon.